good evening, and thank you for joining us in this new adventure or misadventure, early days. The jury's still out. So we have a bit of a different casting to our previous adventures. We have Naomi and Sharon, which you may recognize from our foray in Barovia. But tonight we also have Sharon and Katie. Oh, Katie is also in Barovia too. My bad, my bad, my bad. But we had Jared. So welcome, Jared. We hope you stay.
Thank you.
And you don't die too soon.
That's how it starts.
It happens. It happens. You know. But this galaxy we have Bacta. So and Bacta is one of those things that pretty much is a miracle cure. If not, we have cold. So which are it's equally good, but are more expensive. And tonight we're going to be playing Star Wars using Edge of the Empire system, which is the system from Fantasy Flight that now it's under Edge Studios. Correct me if I'm wrong, don't hate me, because I know people from Star Wars have very strong opinions, so don't shoot at me. But yeah, now there is a couple of interesting things about how we're going to be playing this game. The game is the time span where this game is going to be played. It runs parallel to shows such as The Mandalorian or the newly released Ahsoka. But we are going to be using brand new non-canonical characters. Yes, you may recognize some of the names because the people that the characters that are going to be playing, they have been part of the galactic history. They know somebody, or they are acquainted with someone else, or have seen in passing so and so. So, despite the fact that this is a galaxy, there are very recognizable names and that have a lot of relevance in the world. After all, they're heroes of the rebellion or very famous villains, such as Admiral Tron, that hopefully nobody's going to throw it around in one of their stories. But yeah, so be kind with us and stick around for the stories. I'm pretty sure that you will get a laugh and a smile out of them. So that's one of the things. The other thing is part of this game premise is that each one of us is going to be taking a turn as game masters, which means that all of us will have a character, but we'll be narrating a story. So when each one of us is narrating, it's the story that has been crafted. The character that we will be running, it's sort of be part of the would be around. You know, they will be companions of the adventures and misadventures, but the spotlight is going to be more on the rest of the people. It's more like an extra or, you know, a helpful aid. And that's going to go 5 times since there's 5 of us. So, yeah, hopefully you will enjoy that too. So, without further ado, if you please can introduce yourselves. The first one would be Naomi, which character is Amaya. So what can you tell us about Amaya?
So Amaya Saracen comes from the planet Derelin, which is in Imperial space, and it was therefore like an Imperial conclave until, I guess, after the fall of the Imperial Empire with the Battle of Endor. And not too long after that, the natives eventually rebelled against their Imperial overlords, their evil overlords, and threw off that yoke of oppression and became a member of the New Republic. The interesting thing about Amaya is that she's primarily a scout. That's what her skill set is. She is, and pretty much has spent her entire life traveling through different terrains and finding things of value. So she is a scout, but she's also a force sensitive person. So she has some understanding of the force. She's got some, dare I say, skill in the force, but she is by no means
Yep. Mm.
well trained in the force. So
And I believe that as well, whatever prompted you in this path is that you found something that was force related to.
correct. So when Amaya was a young girl, she came across the remains of an old hut. And inside, she comes across a holocron, a couple of books, and a lightsaber. And pretty much all of her force training comes from those books and that holocron. So,
Okay. Nothing wrong with text educated Jedi's.
nothing at all. So, yes, that's how Maya has learnt about the force and has learnt to harness the force through textbooks. Let's see how this
Okay.
goes.
All right. Sharon or Miss Basia.
So my character is Vazianesso. She is a former slave, although perhaps with her obligations it's more like to say that she changed masters. She is a perfectly, completely and utterly legitimate business person who specializes in moving goods and people quickly and quietly where the need be. Not force sensitive, just perfectly legitimate business person.
Yeah, sounds like an upstanding citizen, yes.
Perfectly.
Jared.
Yeah, so I'm going to be playing presenting as Dr. Mary Hees, who is a human Chandrilan doctor who trained in a fine medical school in Coruscant, and sort of comes sort of seeking adventure to sort of get away from the core worlds. But Dr. Hees has a sort of alter ego, sort of Zondal, which we'll sort of uncover as time goes on. I think I'll leave it at that to keep it a bit mysterious.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. All right. And Katie.
So, Rumsai Anwatak is the daughter of a Dathmeri and a human. She was born in space, so she doesn't really consider herself coming from anywhere in particular. She knows how to use the Force from her mother, but she's what's called a Force-sensitive exile, so her use of it is erratic. She fell in love with a smuggler, and then found out he smuggled spice. And when their relationship went bad, she's been trying to atone for the spice smuggling, or maybe outrun it. She's not really sure.
Okay. Interesting. Right. I'm not going to introduce my character at this stage. You will come to know him throughout this adventure. But yeah. So all of you, given your different backgrounds and life events, ended up either as potential hires for the New Republic or something that is called the outreach missions. What are the outreach missions? After the Empire fell and the rebellion started investigating on the files, they came to realize that actually the Empire spanned regions that were in close proximity to the unknown regions, and that there were other developed civilizations in the vicinity, and all what they knew of the rest of the galaxy was the Empire. Therefore, their perception was a bit skewed, potentially tainted, but also they have been manipulated into believing that the Empire was an all-powerful, all-encompassing structure. So, in the wake of the research, the New Republic came to realize also that a lot of these missions were carried out with terror acts in front of them, like, for example, inflicting a plague into the inhabitants of a system just to turn up a couple of months later when the population had been decimated and offering a miraculous cure and then gaining an instant foothold and the goodwill of the people. And as part of this, they have found a system called Hyquetran. The system Hyquetran is of particular notice and interest for some parties because it has ruins, it has materials, but also it has a very advanced technological level, comparable to based on the reports that have been made public so far. The technology of their capital world is pretty much comparable to the one that is in Coruscant. So definitely, it's an advanced civilization that has a very thorough understanding of mechanics and technology. So as part of the more vital outreach missions that are being proposed right now is the Hyquetran mission. So for this mission, you are part of what it's considered the second contingent. And the reason why is there a second contingent is because they have lost contact with the first contingent. So they're sending a more diverse team, people that has the capability of being a bit more mobile and blend in. One of the things that they know about the Hyquetran system is that the predominant species in the system is humans. However, there are humans with slight genetic modifications, but they're not sure what this entails because they're reading second-hand reports from the Empire intelligence system. So here you are, Vasia, they have told you that you are like the support ship, and this is your crew, the people that is going to be running your crew, and you are to support the main, not frigate, but like a yacht, pretty regal, pretty ambassadorial, completely chrome out. It looks like it was made in Naboo. Definitely, it exudes this aura of power and magnificence. And you are to be leaving in the next 24 to 48 hours, depending if you need anything special on the requisitions or not. So if you guys have something to do in Coruscant before you leave, please let me know.
I can't think of anything for Amaya.
Basia, is there anything that you want to do before you head off into the depth of the space?
Don't think so. Unless there is some cargo that also needs transporting.
No, you're actually full of cargo because there are things that have been sent out like goodwill elements, books, fibers, electronic schematics, all sort of. It's think of it the sort of they would load in the conquistador ships when they were exchanging bubbles for gold icons.
Yeah.
Dr. Mary, to do?
Yeah, I think Dr. Mary would be sort of scouring anything in the archives on Coruscant about these genetic mutations, like any previously published papers, any information might be found, if any.
Good. Okay. That brings us to our first roll of the night. So, let's go through the mechanics of how things work here. Dr. Mary Hughes is going to roll. You could be using a couple of things. You could be using xenology, or you could be using medicine, I believe. Would that sound reasonable?
Yep.
Which one would you prefer to utilize?
I'll go with medicine. Yep.
Okay. So really good medicine. So let's bring out your roll. See. So this has a difficulty. This has an average difficulty, which would be 2 per up. One thing before we start throwing dice, we need to generate your light side pool, light side, dark side pool. So let's take a step back. Okay, Amaya and all of you roll me one light side dark or dark side die. If you can, please. Yep. So just mark one force and roll.
1 force. There we go.
Oh! Probably shouldn't not have rolled that one.
I don't know, it doesn't look that bad. 4 light, 2 dark. Morally grey.
Morally grey.
It always
Okay,
will be.
so far you guys have 4 lights, 1 dark, and I don't seem to have Jared's roll.
No, it's there.
Mine came through as a
One
dark.
Yeah.
Yep. 4 lights, 2 darks.
4 lights, 2 darks.
Yep.
Very well. Cool. All right. So we don't need to use this just yet, but basically what are light side and dark side points? Light side and dark side points are these prop die that you guys can call upon at any moment. What's the trick? You have to call it before you actually roll or declare the end action or commit to the action, better express. Why? Because this actually influences in your favor. If it's a light side point in a roll of skill or attack, what it does is upgrades your die by one level, right? Now, what do I use the dark side points? To make your lives a bit more miserable or to make the enemies more challenging. So every start of session, we will generate a light side and a dark side pool. And the points will flip from dark to light to dark, so on and so forth, right? And eventually, everything gets consumed several times over the span of a game. There are no particular restrictions with it, as far as I recall. I might be wrong, but it's all good as long as you call it before you commit to the roll. And oftentimes, if the roll is relevant enough, I will ask you if you are done or if you're not going to use outside points or anything to influence your check. Okay? All right. So, now that we have established that, back to Dr. Mary Hicks.
Yeah. All right. I'm ready to roll. So I'm going against purple, is it?
2 purples, please.
Yeah. All right. So I think Dr. Mary has quite a bit of success kind of digging up some papers, I guess, from that, finds some interesting data.
I would tell you if I could see what you have rolled, but for some reason your scores are not coming out on the bar. Am I the only one seeing or not
We
seeing
can
that?
see them.
Yeah, we can see them.
Hang on.
This is awkward.
You can trust us, Miguel. Totally.
We would never steer you wrong.
Let me reload my window, okay? I'll be right back.
It's like he doesn't trust us. I'm offended.
Wonder why.
Speak of the devil,
Oh.
he shall appear.
Look at that. You had 1 triumph, 1 success, and 3 advantages.
Nailed
That's a
it.
pretty good roll. Okay. You actually, as you were going along in your research, you managed to come across an encrypted file from the Empire, from the Bureau of Security, that actually says that they have mapped through genetic testing of some of the recruits that they have sourced from this world or this system called Hyquetran. They have realized a couple of things. One, they have ancient DNA, as in the race. There are a vast pool of genetic diversity due to some Twi'lek population that has mixed freely. But also this has resulted in several types of mutations, such as hyperpigmentation or hypopigmentation, which basically presents human-like or humanoids of very diverse colors of skins and ranges. But also has a very interesting undernote. Due to the extended day-night cycles of the planet, it's not unusual to see people that have developed low light adjustments in their vision to survive. So all of you have been called to a meeting, which is also like an introductory dinner to your work team before you depart in the morning. Katie, were you going to be doing something before you guys head up to the
Oh
dinner?
no, I'm quite looking forward to leaving.
Okay.
So
Yep. Cool stuff. And very well. So the dinner. So the dinner is in one of the buildings adjacent to the chancellery building, the new chancellery, because the old one was completely razed, as it was one of those um, symbols of the empire. And there is you guys are not the only outreach team, but the table where you are as are all seated is basically your work team. Sharon, can you describe yourself?
Vazia is kind of average height for a pilot. She's got kind of sky blue skin. Tends to wear a lot of pink. So it's kind of when you see her, the image that you kind of have is like a warm spring day with flowers and bright blue sky, and she always seems to be smiling. It's like nothing in the world, nothing in the galaxy can ever go wrong, get her down. She's just very, very bubbly, unlike me.
so she's a
Okay,
Barbie Twilight better.
fair
Yeah.
enough. So, Jared, how does Dr. Mary Keys look?
Yeah, so she's dressed in fairly sort of traditional medical garb, kind of thing, like a kind of white kind of tunic over kind of like pale coloured, sort of like pale grey pants. She's got sort of long red hair, fairly kind of pale skin, and sort of conservative, but sort of probably a touch gothic sort of makeup, I suppose, on, and has a fairly sort of reserved, sort of conservative demeanor. I think, kind of, friendly but not warm, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Keeping it professional.
Yeah.
Very well. Katie.
Okay, so Runsai is average height, quite very, very slim build. She has short red hair, which she can't seem to get to lie flat, so she just spikes it. She has very pale skin and very accented cheekbones from her mother. And she has a very standoffish demeanor. She doesn't really want to talk to people, and she doesn't want people approaching her, so she sort of scowls and stands there, arms crossed. Body language is always leave me alone. And she likes to wear form-fitting armor or clothing that's plated.
Yeah. Okay. Amaya.
Amaya is in her early 20s, full human, so she's got long brown hair, but she usually ties it up either in a ponytail or a bun of some sort. In terms of clothing, she usually wears, I guess when she's on the ship, it's a more fitted clothing, but when she's out and about on a planet, it tends to be slightly more flowing. So maybe, a white blouse and a black, almost capey thingy. Boots, knee-high boots and leggings. So she still is quite practical. One thing about her, she does tend to she always wears high collars, so it's just her thing. It's her trademark, if you will. She wears high-collared clothing. And
Fair enough. Okay, cool. So dinner goes pretty smoothly. Protocol droids come in, bring trays of food, say the usual platitudes. This goes on for an hour. And then afterwards you see that the lights start dimming up and down. So everybody takes their seats. And you see that a young woman dressed mostly in white with a very particular hairdo. It's like two big buns on the side of the head. Comes up and takes the stage. And he said, fellow explorers, on behalf of the New Republic, I wish to extend our thanks for your courageous efforts in rebuilding fractured relations with some of the worlds that were allies from a time gone by. We understand that some of these missions may not be what you were expecting when you pledged yourselves to the New Republic. However, I would, as a former diplomat, and she smirks a bit, I would like to remind you that everything can be an adventure. And in this light, I wish you all the best in your adventures. May the force be with you. And she raises a glass and toasts to your good fortunes. And then a golden-plated protocol droid comes holding oh, Princess, you're running late for your next appointment. Yes, 3PO, I know. Skulls down the drink. May the force be with you, friends. If you come to need anything, please report quickly to home base, and we will do what it can to support your efforts in the outreach. And she walks away, followed close by the protocol droid that doesn't seem to shut up. It keeps reminding her of things that need to be done or appointments that she's running microseconds late, or that she needs to call her brother too, needs to check up with Han or get that Wookiee under control because it's molting all over the furniture in the new offices, so on and so forth. It seems that there's an endless list of things that need to be addressed. And as she walks, you can see that she's starting to nurse a migraine. And she happens to pass next to you. Good luck in your mission. I wish I could go. She keeps on walking. And other people from the New Republic comes by and they talk about logistics. They say that there will be rowing corpses of flight groups running across the different portions of exploration. And then as the closing event, because it's they made a presentation of where each one of you are going. So in this room there is like 10 different teams, and most of the teams are going to different regions, from going from the outer rim to the proximity of Kessel. Some others are going up to the galactic north, to regions where there is still very heavy presence of Imperial remnants. But in your case, you have been sent to Hyquetran. Now, where is Hyquetran? Hyquetran is one of those planetary systems that does not appear in the current galaxy chart, because it's one of those systems that the Empire never told anybody that it existed. Therefore, the position of Hyquetran is here, in the gateway to the unknown regions. So they have this three-dimensional map of the galaxy in a big hologram above the room. And as they introduce each one of the task forces, when they introduce you, they pinpoint where are you guys going. And you hear this small murmur in the room, like, oh, they're going to the unknown regions. Last time that they sent large vessels to the unknown regions was with the outbound flight project, which was a disaster, blah, 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 blah. And as quickly as the noise comes up, it quiets down, because you see that somebody dressed with diplomatic insignia, comes and said, it's not hearsay, it is a word of strategic value, and if our team is as competent as we think it is, it will be of great benefit as it will allow us to position a hyperlink buoy there that will allow us in turn to explore better the unknown regions. And when you look in the direction of this diplomat, which appears to be a female, you see a woman younger, probably in their 20s, long hair, blonde, but like straw blonde, light eyes, and probably make a perception check. This is one of those persons that you see and are like, I think I've seen this person. The difficulty for this is 2 purple dice. 2 purples.
2 purple.
So how do we assemble a dice pool here?
Mm-hmm.
Call out the skill. In this case, we're going to be using perception. So perception will give you what's the rating and of your ability, and I think by default it defaults to a difficulty of 2 purples, which is the standard. And you roll. Okay. So Varsia, yes. You have successes. Maya, yes. Dr. Mary, yes. Yes. All of you start looking at the person and like, oh, this is the daughter of Motma. Now, she sits down at the table and said, apologies for my tardiness. I was in a meeting with the planning council. I am going to be riding on the diplomatic vessel. I am the appointed diplomat. Yes, as you may have realized, I come from a family of politicians and diplomats. But let me assure you, I am quite capable of it. She introduces herself. My name is Lida Motma. From the initial conversations that we have had with the people from Hyquetran, not expecting anything bad to occur. However, we are taking a rather diverse contingent as there was some issues with the first advance.
What do you mean by issues?
Well, we've lost contact with most of the mission after a couple of weeks.
Okay.
No.
Were they attacked?
Nothing seems to be indicating that, but we cannot get hold of them. And all their communication systems were encrypted with personal codes. So if something happened to them, it's likely that they may have not been able to access communication, or if they were absconded from where they were supposed to go. So if you pardon my expression, you are a bit more worldly than the first mission that we sent, and you all have very different skill sets, ranging from healing and medicine to more mundane ones. So she smiles, quite warm. They are a civilized world with a high level of advancement. So what the first reports advise is that their capital city is very similar to Coruscant, but not with the same density of population. Therefore, we may assume that there may be crime of some extent and parties that will not be favorable of engaging in an open exchange with the New Republic. But we won't know for certain until we hit the ground. So sleep well, and we'll depart in the morning.
Thanks.
She leaves. So dinner dies down. What are you guys going to do? Are you guys going straight to bed, and be ready for the morning, or last action?
Do we know who that first group that went in were? I might do some inquiries about that. Who was the first group that went to the Hyquetran system? I want to know who they were, what they did, what skills they had or didn't.
Okay, that's a bit more complicated. So let's see. In this case, you need to dig out this from the database. So make a computer roll with a difficulty of 3 purples. And I am going to give you a setback die, too.
Oh, man, you're stuck in the deck already. I failed by 1.
So you start punching things on your data pad, and as you get there, you're starting to access the file of the previous Envoys, and then a flag comes in your system and said, "Warning: you are attempting to access restricted data. Your terminal will be locked." Whoop.
Damn it! She picks it up and looks at it and
It's locked.
Oh.
why would they lock that? This is Amaya thinking. Why would they have that under lock and key? From us in particular, because we're the ones who are about to follow in those very same footsteps. What are they hiding?
I think Vazia is going to go about looking for the same information in a slightly different manner.
Very well, Garcia.
It's going
So
to.
your role is like, yep, go on.
I'm going to scope out the room and find someone who looks like a middle-level bureaucrat, and she's
Okay.
going to go up to them and pour on the full force of her personality
What, you're gonna talk to
and
someone?
charm crap out of them.
Okay. This is a bit of a different one. What would be this? This would be probably a charm roll.
Heavy on the charm.
Yes,
Heavy on the
just
charm.
laying it thick on the guy or girl.
Lots of ham and cheese on this one.
So yeah, that would be a 2 purple difficulty.
Mhm.
And if you have anything that give you boosts on charm, feel free to.
I believe I
add it.
do.
I think you do, yes.
I have a disarming smile,
There you go.
if it is opposed.
No, and I believe that you also have kill it with kindness.
I do as well.
Removes setback dice.
Yeah.
All right. Make your charm roll. Difficulty 2 purples.
Holy crap, 5 successes.
Yay!
Eating out of the palm of your hand.
Well
So
done.
tell me who are you chatting up? Is it a male or a female? Who are you talking to?
It's a female,
Okay.
young, the kind that looks like they're just that little bit gossipy and lets things slip.
She's like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty. Yeah, I love you. And then I love your leg. Ooh, oh, gorgeous. And she doesn't stop talking. She's like really full on into you, like,
Start going, yeah, so this is new and exciting, and we're going in somewhere that hasn't been charted. And do you know anything about this?
yes. Well,
Oh,
I actually do, but don't tell anything to anybody because it's a bit
you
scary.
can trust me.
Turns out that when we sent the first mission, we didn't send probe droids ahead. And it turns out that there is some form of disease that it's in all the atmosphere of this planet.
Oh.
And they all contracted it, and they're in a deep coma in the capital of this world. But don't worry, it's perfectly safe. We've already talked with them. We've passed some of our genetic material so they can synthesize a vaccine. So when you guys get there, there is going to be an initial medical, and basically they're just going to tailor the vaccine, and it will be fine. It will be fine. It's fine, okay? Nothing to worry about.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Now, how about we go and get a drink?
Oh, I might have to take a rain check on that, my lovely.
But why? You leave in the morning.
Early in the morning. And I have to prepare my ship.
One.
It's my ship. She's a lovely ship.
Well, you can show me the inside of your ship.
Oh. Well, how about when we get back? And I'll give you a personal tour when it's not so full of people and cargo and everything.
Fine. I'll be waiting for your call.
Oh my lord, that is so
Oh, gosh.
not Sharon. Well
It's gonna be
played.
hard
Nobody
to
was harmed.
So, Vasia, you know what's one of the reasons why they're sending, or the main reason why they're sending a second embassy. Are you able to share this with your colleagues?
Well, having been introduced to my companions, and one of them is a doctor,
Mhm.
I am going to sidle up and go, well, little matter of perhaps some concern. There seems to be some form of native plague that we're not inoculated against.
Considering that it hasn't been mentioned in the briefing, seems highly irregular. What else do you know of it?
That the first mission sent there is currently all in a coma in the capital city.
Seems like important information.
Apparently, they have sent genetic samples ahead with the promise that a vaccine shall be ready by the time we get there. But, oh well, I'm sure it's fine.
Well, we'll have to make sure we receive the highest level of assurances before we leave our ship to ensure our safety. Very concerning.
All right. So, you guys leave, and so the trip lasts roughly a couple of weeks, and you do it in several legs to minimize the stress on the consumables of your ships. And the last stop that you do is there is a large base in Jeddah. And from Jeddah, which is a very famous world, if you saw Rogue One, you remember why. It's where they tested, it was the first life test of the turbo laser from the Death Star, the original Death Star. And they blew Najera, which was the capital city, which eventually the fallout effect basically fractured the whole planet. And there is an artificial atmosphere, and there is some gravitational generators that have been fixed so it doesn't generate more. But there is a constant flow of people. Some are scavengers that are still trying to get hold of some kyber crystals that have been exposed by the fallout explosion. But some others are pilgrims, people that are paying their respects to the fallen in Jeddah. Some others still see Jeddah as a religious pilgrimage point. But there is also an outpost of the New Republic there, and they refuel and resupply all your consumables. And one of the gods. So, you're heading into the unknown regions. Have you been briefed in detail?
Wouldn't say in detail. There's a certain matter of a plague we're interested to know about at the very least.
So you've been told. Yeah, it's very important that the first time around the first group was not prepared, so they took ill after a couple of weeks in the surface. But we've been in contact with them by short relay, and it seems that they have synthesized the antidotes. They just have to tailor them to your genetic makeups when you get there. Okay, so make sure that everybody's vaccinated before they disembark or enter the atmosphere, as it's an airborne particle. But also, Doctor, if you can, see if you can gain some samples of the natural wildlife. Somebody from intelligence was mentioning that apparently these poisoning words to come up with miracle cures used to be a thing quite common during the Empire days. We would
Well,
like to rule out that.
I mean, xenobiology certainly isn't my specialty, but I'll be happy to collect samples, and particularly interested in the local sentient life to understand how they might be similar to us.
Well, they believe that about 70% of the population in the main city, in the capital planet, they're human or human-like.
Human-like, it's the trick, isn't it?
Yes, well, there's thousands and thousands of years of a melting pot at a galactic level. So, what's interesting, and when he says that something clicks in your brain, it's very interesting because when you were reading the paper, they actually spoke about seed genetic material. Now, I would like for you to make me a xenobiology check, and this is a hard check. And I actually going to make your difficulty harder.
Ooh.
Sure.
I was going to say, use a light point. If you're going to use one, use one now.
Sorry.
All right, I'll use one. I'll flip one back, actually, if we just make it upgrade in this way.
So we keep on 4 and 2, right?
Yep.
But bump out the difficulty.
Yep, so I'm bumping one of the purples up to a red, and then I'm bumping one of my green up to a yellow. Yep.
Correct.
Failed with an advantage. Maybe I learned something from my failure.
Just a little something.
I'll give you a little bit because you have an advantage. Well, you went to medical school. You know that the seed race is one, or has been determined to be one of the original settlers in this galaxy, or one of the original races that were able to travel through hyperspace lanes. But you also remember that in the area of the galaxy that you inhabit, which is probably about 60% of the known galaxy, there is no trace of them. Their DNA is extinct.
So there's a lot of unique DNA in this area, kind of thing that hasn't been seen elsewhere.
And as you guys ponder on that, you embark on the final leg to your destination, which is the Hyquetran system. So the Hyquetran system, as you guys come into the system, there is, because you're used to yellow stars or red stars, this one is a bit unique. The first thing that you see as you come in is the star, which is a blue giant, and it has this bluish hue over everything. And the Hyquetran system is not particularly large. Planets and celestial bodies, it's not as extensive as some other systems that you may have visited. It has 8 planets in total. So it has 2 planets that are too close by to the primary star, 3 planets that are on the optimal belt, and 3 other planets that are in the cold zone. However, what your passive scanners register is that there is life and technology in all of the planets. Plus, there is some planetoids or asteroids that are floating around the system that also appear to have technology in them. As you get into the system, you get hailed in the comms, and this is flight control. Please, pilot, identify yourself.
This is the nightfall of the New Republic. Believe you're expecting us.
Yes. Welcome, pilot. Please proceed to orbit the 4th planet, denomination Nedeso. I'm sending you a beacon. We will provide an escort for you and the main ship. Anything in particular that you need to declare?
Do not believe so.
Very well. So, the planet Nedeso, it's roughly about the size of what it would be Jupiter, which also tips you guys on something. The rotational speed of the planet is very, very slow. So as your Navi computer starts getting readouts from the buoys and everything, you come to the realization that for the planet to complete a full rotation, it will take about a year.
Interesting.
So both you and the main vessel are orbiting, somebody from flight control tells you again that we are sending the quarantine corpse to do medical inspection on you, we can grant you admission to planet side. Please stand by.
Acknowledged. We will have our doctor wait for you.
And you receive a communication from the other ship like, hey, they're sending a doctors for the immunizations. I hope that you guys are okay with it. And a couple of minutes later, there is a small shuttle that position themselves above the airlock. And I don't remember the airlock. In your case, is sideways or upwards. And they hook in you. And a couple of med techs come in, what it would be a hazmat suit. I said, welcome. We are the physicians from the city. We are going to carry out a medical inspection, administer some vaccines that you may need in case to avoid that you have a reaction like your previous envoys.
Yeah, so I'll cooperate with that. Here's here are the records for our crew. You'll note that there are certain types and no specific allergies, but these genetic markers will be necessary to use.
Yeah, you notice that they can read Arabic quite fluently. Okay, yeah. A lot of their technology is also in Arabic, and then they pull out a couple of drone-like elements, and they said they're portable scanners, so please do not be alarmed. They're just going to take measurement of yourselves and your bioprints, so we can tailor the vaccines to each one of you. As we have had thousands of years to acclimate to this, so basically we're just going to give you a fixture, so you get to speed to the same level of antibodies as a native.
Mm-hmm.
And they punch all your biodata from the scanners, and the drones start floating around you, and they release this small mist. And this process gets repeated 4 times in your case. And once they test it, and the levels are correct, they pack up everything, sign something in one of their data pads. Who is the captain of the ship?
Oh, that would be me. This is my ship.
Sign, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, you're responsible for the life of your passengers, so yes, you're the authority right now. What a scary thought.
The responsible adult.
Yes. They go back to their ships and they leave. And a couple of minutes later, you get a designation code for an approaching vector, so you can go into the city. I said, please go to the platform 16B on the main deck of Hyquetran City.
Acknowledge. And before I start plotting that in, I'm going to ask our dear doctor to perhaps repeat some of those scans and see what's changed,
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. I'll run some just basic checks to make sure that things are all in order.
Everything appears to be in order. You don't see anything radically change. It's, in layman terms, it was an mRNA vaccine type.
Mm-hmm.
It's something with a little bit of rewrite of your DNA. And
so I just reassure the crew, everything seems to be in order.
Everything seems to be.
Nothing to be concerned about. Vaccines are safe.
We're going to
die! Not yet.
Not yet.
Not because of this.
Okay, so as you fly into the platform, you see this. This is the city of Hyquetran, and you notice something very interesting. It's day. It's on the day side, and the main building that you see in the center of the shot, that is the government building, but also is where the embassy is, and basically is the equivalent of the city, right? It's where all the power shakers live, and the government structure is lodged, and but also you see a bunch of floating settlements. When you're descending, they look very similar to the sort of skyhooks that you would see in Coruscant or in Corellia, which belong to the ultra rich. Basically, their self-contained arcologies or floating manors, depending on the level of wealth and luxury. But all what you can see here is that these people have means and they have a very, very advanced level of technology. And from what you can gather of the platform where the government is at, is that this platform can detach and be attached as they need to. And you have been cleared to land in one of the terraces. So the landing has made me a piloting role.
Now it starts.
Space or planetary?
This is planetary. Well, you're
Difficulty?
landing, which is that would be average, so it's two purples.
One
This is not
success.
looking very good.
That's enough.
Bit rough.
Okay.
It's not pretty.
For a moment, yeah, it was one of those things that you're like, oh yeah, this is that easy. And then as you're on the final approach, a gust of wind just hits you on the side and almost sends the ship careening, and you manage to just cut power and let it drop. And it's not very noticeable, but it didn't look super pretty. But got the job done. Yeah, you see the pilot from the other ship look at you like, no big deal.
Another happy man.
And you hear Lita in the line, in the comm line. Everything okay with you, support team? That look a bit wonky.
Nav computer glitched. We'll have to have that looked at. Sorry.
Very well. Let's be clear. So you see that from the building there has been like an honor guard deployed, and when the ramp comes down from the other vessel and your vessel, the doors open, and you see a number of persons dressed in very formal attires come walking out, like as a group of envoys. But also you notice that there is a person in the middle that they seem to have this ring of space where nobody is in close proximity to that person. It looks like this person has some level of importance. And initially she's wearing like some sort of veil, and then the same crosswind that almost threw your vessel off blows away the veil. And you see this woman. Now, what are the ages of your characters? Is any of your character more than 30 years old?
Mm-mm.
No.
I think mine would appear around 30 years old now.
Would her actual age would be more or less?
Probably around there as well, yeah. Have the
Okay.
experience and training and everything.
What about Vasia?
She'd be getting there, if not.
Okay, so Vasia and Dr. Merrill, you can make a roll here. Well, actually, you two can make a perception roll here at hard difficulty. Katie and Naomi, you can make the same perception roll at a daunting difficulty.
With a what difficulty?
Daunting, which is 4.
Daunting.
4 purples.
Oh no.
Hey, I succeeded.
Success for me.
Look at you rolling really well.
What a departure from our usual.
Who are we?
Yes. How strange this is.
It won't last. It never lasts.
It's the force.
Yeah, my roll won't work. Okay, there we go. let's try.
No. Oh
Yeah,
no.
It's always
So,
fun.
Vasia,
Back on form.
you do not remember, but the good doctor, Ransai, and Amaya, you see this person, and this person looks a lot like a former senator that was also a queen from a planet in the inner. Her
Oh.
name was Padme Amidala. She is remember or has a certain presence because she was known to be a pacifist, and she was one of the persons that opposed the empire and its predatory instance. And towards the end of the Clone Wars, she died. It's believed that she was assassinated, and that was one of the things that propitiated the empire taking over.
So she looks really similar to this person. We're not thinking she's the same person that didn't really get assassinated, or?
Well, everybody knows that Padme Amidala died, and she's remembered at least in Naboo, like one of their national heroes or planetary heroes. There are scholarships with her name, and
this woman would look far too young to be sort of like her.
Yeah.
No, it actually looks like an older version of her. If you were going to compare timeline wise, Padme Amidala died when she was about in her mid-20s or thereabout.
So we could think like maybe she's secretly faked her death and she's ended up here. Like that's an interpretation we could make.
Well, it could be
Clone.
if she would have not aged more than 5 years in the span of 30 years.
Right. So this is an older. Okay. So maybe like it could be an older relative or something.
Yeah, is it a sibling?
Could be.
Well, it could have been related to her. It could have been the long lost child.
Or a coincidence, of course,
Or a coincidence.
Or a clue.
So she comes and stands in front of everybody. Everybody makes way for her and said, "Welcome, envoys from the New Republic. I am the regent of the Hyquetran system. My name is Arita, or Regent Arita. I hope we can come to a good understanding and a positive relation as we had previously with the Empire, who turned out to be great allies of our planetary system." And you see that Lida kind of shrugs a bit, like, "Oh, well, thank you, Regent. We'll do our utmost to make sure that house on good esteem, if not better than the Empire. After all, our desire is also for peace and prosperous relations." And after you see that they are both engaging at diplomatic level, and they're starting dancing around each other and poking and probing, and the innuendo. And after the initial tenseness, you see that both of the retinues kind of relax a bit. Even one of the guys from the bodyguard scheme is like, "It's okay." And they start going into the building. Now, this is where things get a bit interesting. Can you please roll a vigilance check?
Anything beyond just the flat vigilance check?
No, vigilance check with 2 purples.
We all succeed.
Yeah.
We're switched on today. We've had a morning cup of coffee.
Yes. As you guys are walking into the building, you see that there is one of these floating platforms that you saw it when you guys were descending. It appeared that it had a malfunction. It had smoke coming out from one of the engines, and the repulsor lift was kind of fizzling out. So there was several people furiously working on it, and miraculously you see how this platform started gaining altitude. There's no smoke, and the 4 or 5 people that you had previously seen furiously working on the engine come on view of all of you, and you see how one of them is holding a rocket launcher, portable rocket launcher, and screams, "Death to the tyrants!"
Oh no.
And it shoots, and the missile just goes flying straight, and you see how the diplomatic vessel just gets impacted and it explodes. There is 4 assailants, and they are shooting with blasters now that they blew up the vessel. They're your run-of-the-mill crew. They're just... They're not even aiming, they're just shooting wild. So all the honor guard have just closed in around the diplomats, and they're pressing them into the building. And basically, you and a couple of guards are the only ones standing on the deck. So the stray shots are going in your direction, and after the initial blast, they're kind of starting to recalculate. So let's roll initiative. You guys go first. So Amaya, you're the first one, where you have the highest value. What are you gonna do?
One of those flying deck plates from the diplomatic ship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to nudge it so it ends up flinging in their direction.
So you're blatantly going to use a force power thing.
No, I wouldn't say blatantly, but just a little love tap.
You have to use your force ability dice. So when you're using light side points, it's yes. You need more light side points than dark side points.
I got 4! Woohoo!
Yay!
So one of the guys that was there in the platform shooting gets the plate on the chest and goes flying from the platform. Ah!
You got him.
Gravity sucks.
Yep. All right, Katie, you're next.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna use my blaster pistol
Yep.
and take a shot at one of them.
Cool.
Pew pew pew.
Okay. So,
First of many.
so that is a blaster, range light.
Yeah.
So range light, and you have a difficulty of 2,
Right.
but there is some modifiers.
Ooh.
Add 1 setback dice because
Mm.
you guys, there is very heavy wind and the platform is moving or
Okay.
bubbling.
Yep. And roll.
So what is? Let me see. What is your pool?
Yeah, 1. And then I add a setback.
Yep, 1 setback. So
Damn it.
the shot went wide, but you have 2 advantages. So you can give them 2 boost dice to the next person, or you can split, causing them a disadvantage and then an advantage for you guys too.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give 2 to the good doctor.
Okay,
Sounds good.
Dr. Mary, you have 2 advantage to die.
How far away are they from us? Like how nearby?
Range-wise,
Yeah.
50 meters or so.
So is it sort of short range or medium range? Like, because if you want to close up to sort of melee range to them, like
More in the medium sphere.
medium. Okay.
Yeah.
So in that case,
Yeah. Go. You go.
yeah. So what I'll do, I'll take 2 strain so that I can do an extra maneuver to kind of like charge over to them, kind of thing. So I can move up to from medium to short and short to engaged. And basically running in for this one that has just been sort of fired upon. I'm going to go in and sort of like basically chop in for a pressure point to sort of like knock them out, kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. The one that fell off the platform.
Well, the one that that Runsai was shooting at.
Okay, because they're in a floating platform.
Oh, right, they're up above. Okay.
No. They're sort of at the same level. That's why they're so far out, because they're levitating outside the main platform. You can do it. You can close the distance and just, but you will
Jump
have
over.
to jump into the platform and
Okay.
onboard it.
All right, I can try and do that. Do you want me to make a roll for the jump first, and then?
Yeah, make an athletics.
Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, so maybe I will use those blue on the athletics because that probably feels important not to fall off.
As we've learned, gravity sucks.
That's right. Everyone get your high. All right, and just 2 purple, or?
Yeah, 2 purple.
Yeah. All right. I might actually flip one as well, just to.
Yeah.
That's okay, remember. 2 successes, 1 threat.
Okay.
So I can take the threat as another point of strain of sort of getting over there, kind of thing.
Okay. That's up to you. I had ideas, but okay.
Or, you know, if you get another idea, yeah. And then, do you want me to just have that as the action and wait, or do you want me to attack as well this turn?
No, you can attack. You can attack.
Okay.
These people are not the most articulated.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, going into sort of like, you know, chop.
Yep. How about the chop?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
So that's
So 2 successes, and then it would also be adding to my 5 for my weapon, and then also because of my pressure point talent, I'm adding my medicine ranks to it, so it'd be 9 points of strain damage, ignoring soak, to sort of knock him out.
Yeah, the guy just drops like a sack of potatoes.
Nice.
You guys see it from afar because these are like electro gloves, right? You see how the guy gets so tense, like instantly drops.
Nice.
All right, that's Dr. Mary. Basia, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm just going to fire at them with my blaster. This is not
Okay.
her jam.
Get off my ship, you freaking vermin! That looks like a lot of spell. Yeah, still.
Cancel
1
that.
success. That's 7. These guys have a soak of 4. Hold on. So let me count down. So we have 2 pirates down. One that went flying.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that dropped like a sack of potatoes. So there is 2. And these guys taking
7 points of damage.
minus their soak. This one you seem to get it on the shoulder. Like, ugh. So that's all of you. So now the one that you injure, Sharon, she's going to return the favor. So he's going to shoot you with the blaster carbine. Oh, and they have 1 setback die for the wind.
Ooh, 2 successes.
And yeah. So blaster carbine is a damage of 9. So what's your soak value, Sharon?
2.
2. How many wounds do you have?
11.
Oh,
Oh,
fine.
There you
7.
are.
7 wounds. So he got you good. He got you
no.
straight in the middle of the torso.
So 11 minus 7. Oh, somebody math for me.
4. So you feel like somebody just knocked the wind out of you. And the last dog, you know what? I got plenty of dark side points, so
No!
he's going to do something nasty. He is going to grab the missile launcher from his friend, pop another one in. Death to the tyrant!
There goes the ship.
Yeah.
Oh no, not my baby.
Oh,
Not
my
the
baby.
nightfall.
My
No. No.
I put more effort into that ship than I put into the character.
And I'm going to
Holy crap,
Go.
Batman!
see, but I gave you more light side points.
2! Holy potatoes!
Alright, and he shoots.
Ooh!
Ah, no!
5 successes!
No!
You feel how this missile just flies over the whole lot of you, and it hits something behind you.
Don't leave us hanging.
Oh, great. Okay,
That's where we're gonna leave it.
so funny thing about these missiles, the critical range is really low. It's like 2,
It's a
and I
missile.
just have 5 successes. So that means that the critical features get activated. So really good damage. No activation of critical. All right. So this is what happens. The missile goes over you and hits the ship.
She's cringing.
No!
and you hear. But although it got really good, it was not as bad as the other one. Probably because the other one may have hit a fuse cell or something. However, your ship has a massive hole and it's not going to be fly worthy until a whole heap of panels get changed.
It'll buff out, Sharon. Don't worry. It'll buff out.
Yes, it'll buff out. And
A little bit of duct tape.
the guy is grabbing another one and reloading to do a second shot. And as he is starting to take position, you see a small red dot pinpointing in his forehead, and he falls backwards from the platform.
Okay. Who fired that
Someone-
shot?
What?
Make a perception check. Make a vigilance check, actually.
A vigilant? Any
Well, that's-
subtractions or additions?
In this case, these guys.
In
it's
this
a hard
case,
roll.
honestly, I think Ozia is staring at her ship and going, "Oh, baby!"
Yes, whilst your midriff is in pain,
Yeah, you're being shot and your ship's being shot. What?
you-
Not bad.
I told you guys, all these good dice rolls were going to make you
Ah.
pay. Vigilance, 3 purples, and 1 black.
One black.
I think I'm too sort of like caught up in the thick of things to look for the shooter. I'm assuming they're on our side. I'm not going to roll.
I see
Amaya,
nothing.
No,
And I get a threat.
Burnside, yes, and Vasia, yes. Dr. Mary?
I
No.
think because I'm like right up on the barge, I'm not looking back over my shoulder to see. So I'm not going to roll. For
Yeah,
it. I'm just gonna,
that's fine.
Reporting us. Yeah.
Cool. You both see another of these small floating platforms. A woman seems to be driving, and she's steering away from the direction of the platform. And as she's steering away, you see the figure of a man that moves up and with a sort of a sniper rifle, and he starts breaking it down, and they just fly out in the distance. Whilst all the security forces swarm up, and the guy that is still half alive, they just shoot him, they stun him down, and then they reel in the platform. And that's where we're going to live tonight.
Wounded. And the ship. Wounded.
Well, the ship is broken. You don't need a pilot anymore.
That's true.
Real glad to go outside. Yeah.
The pilot and the
She's
ship.
more concerned about, her ship than her wounds right now. It's like, oh, my baby, my
Yeah.
baby.
Oh,
All right, guys. I hope you have a good time.
Thank you.
And yeah,
Thanks.
all right.
Good night,
Bye.
people.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
See you guys.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this epic voyage through the Star Wars galaxy. We hope you enjoy exploring the Force, iconic characters, and untold stories from the far reaches of the universe. Remember, the Force will be with you always. Please support us and subscribe to the show on Twitch and YouTube. We're also on Instagram. Rate and review and spread the word so we can grow and keep these shows coming.